kind of quite the route. Not hearing any animal sounds. Is everyone asleep? It's very, very quiet in a very strange way in this forest right now. And this is that sort of back end of Evergreen. There he comes. Did you go down to the sea? This trail leads down to the sea. Yes. You've probably heard of Rain Man, and we call him Plain Man. Our little plain guy, our little hound from the pound. And I just apologize for not kind of doing more about Tavistock and all these places. It's like I would love to be able to interview someone and find some more direct kind of information about these places. It's so intensely shadowy, is it not? But there are a few players besides Theodore Adorno and Marcuse and people. I'm kind of trying to build a little repertoire. There's a great channel called Sage of Quay where he mentioned someone who I think may have or actually did have Tavistock connections, and it goes deep. And oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'll do another video or I'll put his name in below, but it was a man in London who was like the top hipster psychologist there at the time. It was not R.D. Laing, but, one of those, right? Like top, shrinks or whatever. And he was somehow very involved in Tavistock, and his wife was a big actress on the stage in London, and his daughter dated Paul McCartney. Yeah, so there's a good little weird thing. He's with Tavistock. His daughter is not only dating Paul McCartney, but Paul McCartney was living at their place in London. They had like the hipster, probably, party spot, not like Led Zeppelin party, but like, like London society sort of party spot. And Paul McCartney loved that lifestyle. He was very urban, very urbane. He loved the banter. He loved the plays, the theater. And, that the person who has the Sage of Quay station had brought it up because he's kind of got a Paul is dead theory. And to some people that might be laughable. They might think, it's like in the Earth is flat category, whatever. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't even know about the Earth thing, but, that it's like this kind of, bottom of the barrel conspiracy theory or something. And he had been interested in it at the time it happened when he was young. And there had been actual like newspaper articles that had come out, saying that he had died and things like that. And I think he wanted to follow it to see, can you fool that many people? If it did happen, why did they do it? All of this kind of thing. And I think, maybe the easiest thing would be, this is something Tavistock had invested a lot into. And if Paul died at the very height of their popularity, the entire program would fall apart or something to that effect. So Paul was dating that girl. and I'm sorry, I just don't have any of their names on me right now. I didn't know we were coming to the beach like this. We had to do an errand, and now we're here. But she, then suddenly, they had broken up, and suddenly he was with Linda McCartney, who was quite different. She was not like a member of society in England, and suddenly they were living. There were pictures of them living out in the middle of nowhere around sheep, which was like the ultimate like boring thing for Paul McCartney. And also at that time, the next record that came out was quite different than any of the other music that had come out. I remember seeing this hilarious YouTube. Someone did like such a brilliant job, and they didn't use faces. It was like they just had the bodies, but they were dressed just in these beautiful, velvet, expensive 60s monster clothes, saying, how do we hide the fact that that Paul McCartney died? And they said, well, we'll get John Lennon to grow his hair and wear government issue granny glasses, and we'll have him look really weird, and if you do see that album, it is interesting. I think Paul McCartney has his back turned, so there were things that kind of like fueled the rumor. But it was interesting because Linda McCartney had been their photographer, and remember, they only did one kind of tour. The Beatles did one tour. Nobody saw them around. They had those kind of photo ops of the Fab Four running around, and that was it. And at the concerts, they were very far away and not approachable at all. So nobody ever really saw a lot of them, except for, kind of the footage. And Linda had been one of those few people who had been a photographer. So the story kind of goes that when she came back to do, the next round of pics, she was like, dude, you are not the dude I photographed. And she would be able to know that because she's like one of the only ones who actually had access to him, and that he actually was happy about it. Like, oh, I'm so relieved. Like, there's someone who I don't have to lie to. And that they kind of got together. And again, it wasn't Paul McCartney. It was a different person who had and they think it's Billy Shears, a different person who did want to hide and who did really meld with her. And weirdly, the other girlfriend, the one who was suited to who we call Bio Paul, I think that she had it was very weird what happened with her, but even stranger, within the year, the father, the top psychologist father, the Tavistock Institute father, committed suicide. So, it's weird, like maybe none of it means anything, but when you start to kind of look at these big pictures and these rippling effects, you do start to wonder what on earth is going on. A million trillion years ago, I lived in that house. It was a rental. I was a student. And I got it because it was like close. You could kind of kayak across, but it wasn't very fun to kayak across. I think I got caught in bad weather a few times. And wow, it's funny, it's still there. We had some bizarre neighbors that were, it was like a sheriff from Oklahoma. And we were kind of spied on. It was sort of a bizarre experience, I think there's a lot of novels about that. You move out to the country to get away from it all, and basically you wind up kind of under a magnifying glass. Oh my God. So, just, I don't know what happened. I've got some people who we were sort of DMing, and I felt like I was like on a roll, and then all of a sudden It was like everything just sort of stopped. It was very strange and very weird, um, and so we're trying to pick up. We're trying to pick up now, and so thank you everyone for just being awesome. Have a fabulous day. Am I going to be able to round him up? Yikes. Take good care.